as new jobs data pushes the stock market down and completely collapses Bitcoin to prices we haven't seen in a day. Moon boys across the globe are right now asking themselves, is it all ogre? Or has the blasting of the bulls only just begun? So if you understand something big isn't about to happen, something really big is about to happen, hit that like and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin today, which I'm just going to be honest with everyone. Now that Bitcoin is down a couple of percent, it's more likely than ever that the new support level for Bitcoin is not only zero, but potentially below zero. It's truly all over. We have never seen the price of Bitcoin go down this much. And in fact, I just wanted to take this moment to admit we've been fooled, we've been trapped. Wow, we've been dumped on. So let's take a look at some of the massive news today. We did see that this jobs report today brought the stock market down. We also see Nvidia going down as well. The latest jobs opening and labor turnover survey report, which was released today, showed the hiring activity remained at a decade low, a further indication that a much cooler labor market is at hand. And in addition to that, we see that over $200 million was liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in just a single hour. Truly devastating to these markets. Wow, I'm extremely scared. We also see that, according to Mag's Scalping Pro on X, if you can't handle a 20% dip, you don't deserve 1,000% pump. And really, this just illustrates, even in bull markets, this specifically is looking at bullish trends, you get pullbacks. And guys, I mean, so far, this isn't even worth a pullback worth even mentioning because it's not even close to these pullbacks. But I do just want to highlight that ever since we've gotten this massive dump, I think that it's time to admit we were wrong. It's time to admit that Bitcoin is just, I don't know. I don't know why I'm going on so long with this joke. Anyway, Bitcoin is chasing liquidity. Nothing to see here. All-time high coming soon, according to Bitcoin therapists. You can see Bitcoin is going down. There's a lot of liquidity there. We also have a lot of liquidity around 104 and 106,000. And so most likely, again, over the next week or so, as we see a new pro-crypto administration come in, we will likely see this change and maybe be more volatile. But overall, really, I don't know, is anyone even panicking about this? I don't think so. But maybe we'll go a lot lower. In fact, really, as long as we're above 90,000 US dollars, I don't really consider this extremely interesting. Actually, I would be really excited to make a video if we actually saw a big break, if we saw a flash crash, if we saw $90,000 get broken, and I would take that as a buying opportunity as well, but we'll have to wait and see if we actually would get something like that. We did see that Trump said that the ISM report is fake and that interest rates and inflation are too high, and so this is interesting. And this is something I've talked about many times over the past week and even the past month. Donald Trump measures his success, or he has in the past, on the stock market. But is he going to gauge Bitcoin success as another metric of how he judges his own success as president? Yeah, I think so. And this, I've been saying this for over a month, and this is another illustration of this same thing. Trump is going to be very focused on the price of Bitcoin. It's another stock market for him. Adding that Trump would love for Bitcoin to hit $150,000 early in his presidency. It already did hit $100,000 after his election, or him winning the election, even though he's not in office yet. Because people understood that him coming into office is, a very pro-crypto administration and a very pro-crypto thing. That absolutely was one of the reasons that we actually saw Bitcoin. I mean, this is exactly when the results were certain that he was going to win the election. From $69,000 per coin, nice. Giga candle up to about 76, couple days, ranging, and then a Giga candle from 76,000 up to 90,000. And yeah, I mean, this is the chart. It just went up a lot. People were, very bullish about a Trump presidency because it's a very pro-crypto presidency. And as you can see on this daily chart, look at this absolutely scary red candle. Oh my goodness. We're going to be getting into that in a second. It's extremely scary, actually. But one thing I want to look about is the Czech Republic central bank considering purchasing Bitcoin. I think this is only going to increase massively over the next few months. It's just country after country that are considering talking about this. If For example, we see a Bitcoin strategic reserve in the first month of the Donald Trump presidency. I think that it's very likely many countries around the world are very quickly going to start being interested in doing the same thing. I think that's probably the most common sense play that somehow people are not really factoring in too much right now, or they're not looking at it as a very sure thing. I think if the US gets a strategic reserve, which it looks very likely that it will, I think that it's very likely it's not going to be the only strategic reserve in the world. I think there's going to be many of them. And these countries are going to be competing with each other to do this. We see Dennis Porter saying up to 20 strategic Bitcoin reserve bills will be introduced at the state level. Multiple bills in the same state, lawmakers competing aggressively to be the first in history, just like we saw with the spot ETFs in a sense. The vast majority of these bills will be based on Dennis Porter's fund here, or the Satoshi Act Fund, and he's the CEO and founder of this, and the SBR models as well. And also, I did want to highlight that this thought is interesting. The Bitcoin QQQ pairing has been consolidating between its November 2021 and April 2021 highs for 8 weeks now. To me, it looks like a breakout is looming on this chart, which pairs Bitcoin, USDT, with the QQQ. And ultimately, I think that watching that chart, along with many other charts, is going to be vital over these next few weeks. Now, we do see that the crypto market as a whole, I'm looking at the right side of my screen, Bitcoin is down a couple percent. Alts are down about double what Bitcoin is, meaning alts are getting tanked, or alts are tanking more, and Bitcoin's down 5%. You can see this red candle. Now, this candle could get bigger. Absolutely. In fact, as I said, if we even came all the way down to 90,000 US dollars, well, first of all, from all-time highs, if we came down to a $90,000 Bitcoin, that would be about a 15 to 16% drop from all-time highs, which, as I just showed you on this chart, is extremely commonplace, even in bull markets. Meaning, look at all these 20 to 30% drops in bull markets, and we haven't even gotten that yet. So it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't care. I would be again trying to buy up, especially maybe some altcoins before a nice alt season as well, getting as many cheap entries as possible. In fact, I just put another large amount into Bitcoin in the last 12 hours because literally all the money that I make, I just basically just put it back into Bitcoin. Whether it's from YouTube, whether it's from literally anything, it basically just goes into Bitcoin. And snacks. I like to eat food and stuff. So a lot of my money goes towards food, but food and Bitcoin, those are that's like what 99% of my money goes to. But on the daily chart, you can see right now, after getting above the 21 and 50-day moving averages, right now we're testing right on them. Short-term momentum. Hey, we have the chance of going up here, but could we get a bigger pullback? Sure. Does it matter this doesn't even matter in the sense of by next week. But yeah, I'm making a video today, so I guess I'm going to talk about the short-term price action, even though if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't care at all. But I'm making a video today, so let's talk about it. We see that the US dollar is, it was down the last 2 days. Now it's kind of even or neutral to where it was yesterday for the most part, trying to get some gains up from yesterday. If we actually zoom in, you can see, I personally think, as I talked about many times as well, when Trump was elected the first time, after it was known that he was going to be president, the US dollar rallied. But as soon as he took office, it started dumping for a long time. So is the US dollar going to repeat that same thing here? We see, of course, as we talked about with the jobs data, the stock market is down on that move as well, or with that news as well, similar to Bitcoin. But really, overall, we're at the prices we were before yesterday's pump. So really, and if you guys are familiar with the channel, I basically don't care if we dump or pump. I just hate trading sideways. So really, I personally would be totally interested if we got a dump here, because as you can see right now, this weekly candle and daily candle are both red. So we're talking about red possibilities. As I've been saying for weeks, I would love another chance to buy Bitcoin at about $80,000 per coin, which is where that 21-week moving average is. I'm having a hard time believing that we would get there. I would absolutely love it, especially again if Bitcoin got down to about $80,000 per coin, which is right about roughly about a 26% drop from all-time highs, which would be very in line with bull market dumps. So It's definitely possible. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but I'd be very interested to buy Bitcoin and as well the altcoins, because their respective prices would be much lower percentage wise, most likely, than Bitcoin's percent 16 or so, or sorry, 26% or so dump. You know, by the time this video gets uploaded, honestly, a part of me is hoping that we actually have a bigger move to the downside, just so it shakes things up a bit, so it makes things a little more interesting. I like volatility. I like when things actually do something. As I've said a million times in the past, there's nothing I like less in these markets than trading sideways. I hate just trading sideways. Dumping or pumping are always welcome for me. If it dumps, I buy more. If it pumps, I'm rich. So, but if it's sideways, I'm bored. And that's the worst thing that anyone could ever do to me, is making me bored. Are you kidding me? Nobody likes that. Make it crash or make it pump. Just don't do nothing. Please. Please don't do nothing. The reason that I'm talking about that so much is because I feel a little bored with this price action, and I truly think that, yes, this is a red candle. Please, in my opinion, honestly, if it's possible, I would like to see this turn into a bigger dump. For the reasons I've already mentioned a couple times in this video, so I'm not going to say them again. But really, I think my biggest fear right now, I'll just be totally honest. I'll be totally transparent. And this is what's in the back of my mind and why I'm kind of talking around the subject. My biggest fear right now is for the next 10 or so days, we trade sideways. And that fear is eating me up inside. I really, I have a really low tolerance for trading sideways right now, especially because I think we should be going much higher in the very, very short term. And this idea that we might trade sideways for another week or something is like eating me up inside, because the thought of it is so boring. It bores me to death, and I really don't want to have to deal with that. So with that being said, I hope we dump or pump.